Hello everybody and welcome to my review of the Hotel Riu Palace Antillas, as you can see there in front of you. Off to the left is the Hotel Riu Palace and to the right is a construction site. So throughout this video we're going to run through everything in the hotel and I'll give you my opinion at the end on the good things and bad things about the place. The Hotel Riu Palace Antillas was actually the Aruba Concord Hotel, and it was built in 1977. It converted to the Riu Palace Antillas during the 2010s. So the changeover to Rio was, probably about 10-15 years ago. As you can see in the front here, the hotel is kind of a tower-like structure. We're out here in front of the pool area. You can see a little bit of a shallow pool there, the bar in the background, and that is just one of the two pools that are out there on the property. And to the left is the beach, and you can see the chairs out there, which we're going to talk about later, and you can also see some of the beach vendors, but it's a pretty wide beach and there's plenty of room for everybody, and that's one of the cool things about it, is that there's more than enough room for everybody. It's pretty spacious and it's pretty relaxed out there, and you can see the beach chairs off there coming into the picture. This is a shot of the pools from the stairwell. As you can see, the two little basins there, and the larger pool and the smaller one off into the distance next to the bar. There is that construction site there, so some of that noise does kind of carry over into everything. But if you're watching this probably about a year after I put this video out, maybe it's not a problem anymore. So as you can see here, the pool is pretty big. However, it's definitely a lot of room for activities and definitely a lot of room for people. But overall, the pool, it looked like it was maintained decently, but towards the end of the day it got a little bit scummy from everything going in there, and I don't know whether that was chlorine or not, but people were having a pretty good time out there. The music out by the pool was generally pretty much a lot of your like party tunes, things of that nature, and it was a pretty fun atmosphere if you were one of the adults out there. So a lot like spring break, a little bit more restrained of course because not everybody's college kids. And as you can see here in the front ground is the bar that is out there at the pool. And this little white building in the background that we're kind of approaching is the Steakhouse, one of the a la carte restaurants. So looking at the room, I had room number 1500, which is the double balconied oceanfront room. You can kind of see the initial setup with the swans on the bed. And starting from the door, just kind of running through things, this is the toilet. Pretty decent sized, and they just remodeled the hotel, so there's a lot of nice little tile platings and stuff around. No real issues with that, it's pretty basic. As you look in here, you have your two sinks with the soap in the center, the towels. It has a hair dryer. It's very convenient, very nicely sized, no issues with the size at all. You can see the mirror in the background. But overall, it's a pretty solid bathroom, and you can see the shower stall, plenty of room there. And it's got the two shower heads, the rainfall shower head and then the smaller, more precise shower head to help you get any problem areas that you need that the shower head might not be able to reach. So overall, pretty decently sized shower and a pretty nice toilet and shower rooms. Going to the left here in the closet, you've got your typical safe deal with your iron, a couple of bathrobes, hangers, an extra blanket, pretty solid and predictable stuff in the closet. This is the alcohol setup in the room, so it's all inclusive and it's all adult, so that's kind of what you can expect. In that, you've got your water, your two drinks, you've got your fridge, which should be refilled daily, but in my case it wasn't. It was kind of inconsistent. You had to be in the room when the guy was kind of stopping by to get refills, otherwise you were kind of out of luck. But that's what the fridge setup should look like when you get into the room, and that pairs and mixes nicely with the alcohol above. As you walk in, you've got the couch, and this couch does fold out into a bed, so if you have like 3 people in the room or your family traveling, that's definitely very beneficial. The bed itself was pretty comfortable. It's a pretty good sized, king-sized bed here, and of course again the swan sculpture, which is always cool. But the bed itself, it was pretty decent. Not great, not terrible. Soft, but not too soft. You can see the drawers there for storing your clothes, your TV, but why would you need it? Because you're going to have, fun and be on vacation, not watching TV. A little bit of info there on the table. And this is the first balcony, and you can already see the view is tremendous. And being up on the 15th floor, you're pretty high up, so you can see pretty much everything. You can see the boats in the background, the beach bars. You can see all the vendors that are selling jet skis, paragliding, all that other stuff that they sell on the beach. So that is pretty solid. And you're kind of going around, you can see a little foam party going on in the pool below. And that is the coastline. So this view is obviously pretty impressive. And going over to the second balcony, you get another impressive view just a little bit further over to the left. So having two balconies was kind of cool. I did prefer the one on the right more, but this one came with the full, the left one came with the full beach chair, so you can lay out here and get some sun in. You can see a little bit of the construction site there, and that noise does kind of carry over sometimes. Also, so does the music from the pool, and they do play that music pretty late. So just, something to think about. You can see the boats back there doing boat things, and that's just one final look at the two pools, and everybody looks like they're having fun. And coming back into the room, just kind of walking to the door to give you a glimpse of just kind of the overall size of the room. So it was pretty solid, no real complaints about the room in and of itself. This first restaurant was Rimini, the Italian restaurant, the a la carte restaurant at the place. You can kind of get a good glimpse of the menu there. And it had a little salad bar type thing with antipasta, which you could pick up before your meal arrived. And you can see people in this frame doing that. So it's pretty decently sized restaurant. Not really full, but the food there, especially the antipasta, was tremendously done. This is just a sample of some of the stuff on the antipasta bar. And this was the meal. I think my wife and I both got the same thing. So the food there was obviously very well prepared and tremendous. Definitely one of the things about the resort that's good is the food is awesome. I had no complaints about it at all. And this was tiramisu, the dessert, and it came in a cool little container there. And that's just pretty much like an overhead shot of it if you really like tiramisu. So this is Malmock, the Aruban restaurant. Didn't get as many pictures of the food here, but this is the menu. So, of course, since you're on the island, it's going to be like pretty much seafood based. And overall, I did think the flag design in the center of the table was pretty cool. And Malmock, the restaurant, is open as part of the lunch buffet, and then it just shifts over to the a la carte. So you can see the salsa there with the cornbread. They offer you wine at not only in the main area, but on all the a la carte restaurants, they offer you wine. And that's just a shot of the dessert. And like I said, the food there was definitely, like in every restaurant, pretty awesome. And this was the line for the steakhouse. Now, for the steakhouse, you have to get there roughly about 30 minutes early and wait in line to get in because there's a pretty high demand for the steakhouse. So you got to do that. And this is just kind of a picture of what that line looks like. This is the roll, which is like pretty much your roll that you can get at a grocery store. They did have somebody come by and make you drinks, so they had a little drink menu, and this is her making 2 drinks for us. And it was a pretty cool little feature where they just kind of rolled that cart by to every table, and whatever you wanted on the menu, you were able to get it made pretty much tableside, which was something that was pretty awesome about the place. This is a Caesar salad, which was tasty and pretty artfully designed. So obviously, the presentation was on point. And these were the 2 drinks that were made by the bartender. As you can see, appearance was also on point. And this was the surf and turf that my wife got. And I ended up just getting your filet with vegetables. So the food was, in this restaurant, like the other ones, awesome. So if you like eating a lot, you will love it here. This was the dessert. I think that's like a fruit cocktail of some kind, and I of course went with the chocolate layer cake. And this is the main serving area for the buffet. Off to the right you have the drink station, and this is the healthy section where they have like the vegetarian, the more healthier foods. And we're going to start walking sort of through the main drag. The meat table's there to the right. To the left you have the fruits. This normally converts to a salad bar for dinner. Up there you kind of have like your cold cuts, where that would be. That's the end of the meat table. And we are approaching sort of the bread area. So bread baskets off to the left, and to the right you have like where your pizzas would be for like most of your meals, stuff like that. So overall, pretty big dining hall. Okay, so that video pretty much goes through and shows you the basics, the food, the room, a little bit of the lobby, so on and so forth. So what were actually the good things about the trip and the bad things about the trip? Because not everything, of course, you can capture on camera. So first off, the good things, starting off with, of course, the food. The food at the place was pretty awesome. From the buffet, where the food was plentiful. Some people sometimes in the reviews can get a little snippy about it. I thought the food perfectly was fine, and there was some pretty good setup there, and there was pretty good flow. It didn't seem like the buffet was ever overwhelmed at times, and it was very well organized, and there was a good flow in and out of the place. For the next thing, I would say the location of the hotel itself is definitely an asset. It's very walkable to any of the resorts and attractions, not only on the beach, but also on the streets, pretty much all the way from Riu Palace Antillas all the way down to the end of the drag, where I think it's like the Four Seasons or something. It's about a mile-long drag full of restaurants, entertainment, stuff like that, and it's very easily walkable, the entire kind of main section of everything you kind of want to see in a touristy area. And then finally, the housekeeping crew at the hotel. Every time we passed them in the hallway, they would say hello, they'd be very nice, they'd be very cooperative, they would do an excellent job keeping the room clean and up to date, and generally they did a solid job overall, and of course they need to be complimented for that. So those are the three things I think they did really well. Unfortunately, I think the list of where things might have fallen short is a little bit longer. So first off, let's go down the list of things that didn't quite go I think as well as it could have gone. So customer service overall was kind of negative overall. So front desk was okay, not great, not terrible. They didn't quite have a lot of information they could tell us, but they answered most of the questions. Housekeeping, like I already said, was pretty awesome with everything. They did a good job. But the further away you got from kind of the front desk, as far as most of the beachfront and stuff outside, that's where the customer service I think kind of fell through. Because everybody's really kind of polite to you at that first day. But after that, you kind of get the feeling like if you don't tip them, they're not really going to give you the service that you want. And of course, tips are already included in the package. There are some people who tip, obviously, like they would back in the States at an all-inclusive. I think if I've already paid for the tips, that's done. I might give a couple dollars if somebody's, doing an awesome job, but I'm not going to tip everybody for like every single, 6-ounce drink at the bar they pour, or, just dragging the beach chairs out, which, is their job because they've already been tipped and figured into the original amount. So I think that overall was something, because it just felt like unless you were tipping them, they didn't really kind of care about you. And that's kind of one of the controversies, is how much you tip at an all-inclusive resort, because even when tips are added in, you don't know how much these people are actually getting tipped. So some people tip a lot. I think if it's already been worked into it, it shouldn't be something that's really expected of me unless the service is just like double thumbs up awesome. So that's one of the things. So if you don't tip them, they can get a little bit snippy. One other note on the bad side that you may or may not want to hold against them, I don't, but it's something just to be aware of, is that they had a lot of construction noise. You probably saw in like one of the video clips, there was a hotel being constructed next door. If you have a room on that side where you're facing the construction, the noise can get overwhelming. I didn't, but even since my room was beachfront, I could still hear some of the noise. I can't really hold the hotel, in too much of error for that because they can't really control it. But that's something to be aware of if you're going to book the hotel. If you're booking it probably within the next year from this, probably try to get a room, on the other side of the hotel. Also, that construction noise also carried over to the pool. So, you'd be laying by the pool trying to relax, listen to music, and it would just be like the clanking of construction work. So obviously I don't hold that against them, but that's just something to be aware of. The next thing is music. So overall, it just got old, the music you would play, because we were beachfront, and of course they play the music really loud by the pool. But it was pretty much just every party hit you hear in a club from 1970 all the way to current day. So I probably heard Hotel California 3 to 4 times a day. And I'm not a huge fan of the song, but after this hotel, I absolutely hate it now because it was just drilled into my head. You hear pretty much the same party songs on repeat for the last 40 years. Most of you could probably name, 50% of the songs you're going to play right now. And it was pounded, pretty loud volume. There wasn't really any music that you consider relaxing for the beach or, steel drums or anything like that. It was all just pretty much party music for, the people down by the pool. And, it's okay if your purpose there is to go and drink and have a good time. I'm not a huge drinker / party guy really on this vacation, so it just was kind of old, and it got old pretty quickly, especially when you're in your room and they're still playing it pretty loud 9-10 o'clock at night. So that was one of the things I think that they probably need to adjust. So next up, cleanliness of some of the eating areas. So when you are going in and out of the main buffet, they turn the tables pretty quickly. And so oftentimes when we would go in, we would be sat at a table where there's already like stains on the tablecloth from the previous people, or the cup might be missing, or the silverware might be missing. Just basic stuff like that during the buffet. It was a little bit unnerving. Granted, we'd look at everything when we sat down, even if it was in a little bit of disarray. And if it looked clean, we went with it. But it's just kind of questionable for what you're paying for, that, they don't, if there's crumbs or something there, they're just gonna, seat you in the seat and do what they gotta do. So that was something. Next up, and this is probably one of the bigger pet peeves, is the chair situation on the beach. So here's how the chairs at Riu Antillas work. You go down at 6 o'clock in the morning and you try to get a beach chair under one of the little umbrella things. Or you bribe a staff member to do it for you, usually one of the guys working the beach. And so people do that to reserve their spots. And for the most part, they don't show up to reclaim their chair for hours afterwards. So you wake up in the morning, you look down at the beach, you already see the chairs set out, and each one of them already has a towel on them. And it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. And obviously those chairs are not filled. So in order to get a good one, you have to go through this ridiculous thing where you wake up really early in the morning, put the chair out there, and then leave and come back hours later to kind of claim your spot, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. I think it's stupid, one, because the shadows change over time, so you can put your chair under an umbrella and then 3 hours later, the shadows shift and now you're sitting in the sun, and so on and so forth. I just think it's the most ridiculous thing. But people still, would bribe staff members to set their chairs out for them, or go out there at 6 o'clock and do it themselves. Granted, there was still plenty of room after that period to be able to grab the chairs and, find some shade out there, because like I said, the sun would change the shadows. But, that was just one of the pet peeves where they didn't really control that at all. You go out there at 6 o'clock, claim your chair, it's claimed all day. And I just think that's, one, stupid, and two, annoying. So that's just one of my things. And then finally, I think the value, talking about value. So when you're going to an all-inclusive, the main thing about value is getting your money's worth every day. So let's say that you paid, $750 a day for this all-inclusive hotel. That's just about the price that I paid. How do you get the value out of that? Well, the main way all-inclusives are set up, the food obviously was good. I felt we definitely got our money's worth there. The room was pretty awesome with a pretty awesome view, as you saw, so I felt we got our money's worth there. But where you make the most money in your value in all-inclusives is generally on the alcohol and the amount that you drink. So if you're going to party it up like it's spring break, you can get more value out of the hotel that way through your all-inclusive and the amount you spend every day. I'm not a huge drinker, so I didn't really feel that the value was there even for the price that I paid. So for two people, $750 a day at the place, I felt it was a bit much, but like I said, not a drinker, and that's where you make up most of the value. Food was great, room was great, just, I didn't feel the value was there, and the customer service level for what we were paying for was they initially met the goal. So like I said, that's a pet peeve about the place. Finally, overall, about the Riu Palace Antillas, what sort of grade would I give it? For the visit that I had for the week that I was there, I would give it about a 6.5. Like I said, there were some good points to it, but overall, the things that kind of detracted overall from the vacation, kind of played against itself. So the value, and it kind of degraded the value of what I felt I paid versus what I got out of it, because there was just a lot of things that were just kind of annoying, and you felt that for what you paid for at the hotel, you would get a little bit more out of it, like customer service, the ridiculous situation with the chairs on the beach, the construction noise, which I said obviously I don't hold about them, the overall cleanliness, just the things like that added up to the point where it's just like, would I go back there again? I would have to say the answer is probably not. I think you can do better on all-inclusive on the beach, even though this is adults only all-inclusive. Still, it just didn't fly with me. I've been to some all-inclusive resorts, some adults only all-inclusive resorts. This one definitely kind of ranks towards the bottom of those, simply because of just those little annoying things that they did that for the price you're probably paying to go there shouldn't exactly occur. So that overall is my opinion on Riu Palace Antillas. You can feel free to agree, feel free to disagree, but just wanted to put that out there for you. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and as always, thank you for tuning in.